Welcome to the Warner Brothas podcast. My name is Keenan, joined by my brother Kyle, as always. Friend of the show, Kamden, mainstay. How's it going, guys? You Celtics fans?
I mean,
I don't know if I've recovered yet from last night. It's one of the most.
I know
games
it was
a
wild game last night. So, in big news, the Dallas Stars, they won 4-2, so they're going back to Vegas. Oh, no, actually, they're going back to Dallas. Hopefully, they can pull off the 3-0 comeback as well. And the Aces got their rings, the only games I'm really concerned about. What about you guys? What about you guys? I mean, I've become a big hockey fan over these last few games.
Yeah.
Joe Pileski's killing it there.
Could either one of you name 5 hockey
What was
players,
that?
NHL players?
Mm-hmm.
You can name 5?
I mean,
Cam, can you?
You got obviously Sid the Kid Crosby, we got Alex Ovechkin, we got Joe Pileski, we've got PK Subban, and we've got I can't think of his first name. Something Point for the Lightning. I can't think of his first name now. But absolutely, I'm a big hockey guy, as you can tell.
I'm gonna see if PK Subban's still in the league.
I didn't even know the NBA were having playoffs.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he's old, but I didn't even know the NBA playoffs were going on. I'm a big hockey
that's
guy
4.
now.
He's a former hockey player.
I mean, it was a tough night for a Heat fan.
All right, but in all seriousness, I haven't recovered either, Kyle. I've been fake talking about being a hockey fan with Daniel Reed. He is as well once the Lakers lost. So getting into this heart-wrenching moment in my life, I'm going to start off and I'm going to let you guys go after because I'm just continuing to speak. So I'm watching this game last night, and I'm like, hey, cool. Gabe Vincent showed up. Caleb Martin very much showed up. Max Strus played solid. Duncan Robinson missed a couple shots late. We'll get there, but played pretty well throughout the entirety of the game. I was happy with Duncan Robinson. They were running sets for him. Why? Because Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler, you couldn't run sets for. Jimmy was 6 callers ahead of us, Jimmy, and Bam Bam Bigelow couldn't do a thing last night. Like, what's going on? What are we doing here? Jimmy, for the first 43 minutes of the game, looked tentative, hesitant, nervous. Bam, still trying to find him. Don't know where he went. He wasn't in Miami last night. I do not know who was there last night, but Bam surely was not. And then Jimmy showed up late to the game like, oh, hey, let's go play. For I think 14 of the Heat's last 16, and like 10 of them came from the line. He wasn't really that great. Even then, even with that, I wasn't still impressed. He was barely being aggressive. He just got some calls here and there, but cool, whatever. Do you want to jump in before I go through the rest of the game?
I
do you need to jump in at all?
I think that's a bit harsh. I think that's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler did not.
What was harsh? Jimmy?
They did not play well. There's a difference between not playing well and not showing up. They absolutely showed up. Bam Adebayo was playing his ass off. The shots didn't go in, but he was playing his ass off. You want to talk about not showing up? That's Joel Embiid and James Harden in Game 7 against Boston. They weren't even in the building. Joel Embiid he's the league MVP.
He's
a league MVP and he had 2 second-half points. All right?
I get what you're saying.
Jimmy,
No, I get what you're saying. I really do get what you're saying.
Jimmy, though, I'll say this. It has been the last 3 games now, bothered by the Boston defense, which is what can happen when this Boston team's actually engaged. They're going to bother people, especially if you don't have elite athleticism. Or Jimmy, in his case, was a little banged up. We saw him get his knee rolled up on in the first half. Bam, he just couldn't get shit to go. He was rebounding his ass off. I thought they were playing hard. Jimmy, Jesus Christ, he made that 3 to tie it up there at the end or bring it to one possession. I can't remember exactly. And got to the line 3 straight times.
He showed up.
Okay, all right. Well, that's much different than James Harden, Joel Embiid, who did not show up. These guys were shooting. These guys were trying. These guys were playing hard.
I said the last 5 minutes of the game he was there.
Yeah, but he wasn't not shooting before that. He wasn't.
What do you mean?
He wasn't not playing hard before that.
He was very Jimmy was very.
He was tentative.
He was very tentative all game. There was.
He was tentative.
That's what I said. He was tentative. He was hesitant, and
he was tentative though because of the defense. James Harden couldn't be bothered to show up. Jimmy was in his own head, not really being able to solve the Celtics defense. He was still being aggressive. You know, he wasn't passing up shots. He was just more, what the fuck do I do with this defense, with this length of the Celtics?
He very much was passing up shots.
At the rim. At the rim.
He was very much passing up shots at the rim.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was.
Because
his thing was he's been pump faking the first 3 games of the series. He was pump faking at the rim. The Celtics were jumping. He was not. What he needed to do was just go up with it. There were multiple times where he was underneath the basket, had a layup, and wasn't even looking to shoot the ball. There was one where he got specifically fouled where he.
But I'm saying compared to Joel Embiid and James Harden,
and hesitant. That's what I said about Jimmy.
You said they didn't show up.
Sure.
You said they didn't show up. I think they at least showed up. They didn't play well, but they were there. Joel Embiid and James Harden, they did not show up in a Game 7. So I'm just shooting them bail in that regard.
No, not at all.
Was Jimmy tentative? Absolutely.
They were still in Philly when they were in Boston. I said Jimmy, but I said Bam did not show up. I said Bam did not show up. Jimmy, I said he was hesitant. He was tentative. He looked semi-nervous early on. But I said the last 5 minutes he was completely there.
And I would say Bam.
He had 14 of the last 16.
I would say Bam came up with a lot of crucial rebounds for y'all. I mean, he couldn't get his shot to go, but he's also not the best offensive player either.
So not showing up, you're right. So not showing up, that phrase probably wasn't the greatest of phrases. Offensively, he did not show up. He missed bunnies. He missed some easy shots. Yes, the Celtic defense was definitely playing well. I'm not trying to discredit them at all. But anyways, they didn't play well. If we don't need to argue about semantics of words, they did not play well. Jamie Butler didn't play well offensively for 43 of the 48 minutes. Bam did not at all, but they did fight, and the Heat role players kept them in the game. Jimmy, to his complete credit, down 2, makes all 3 free throws. I wasn't even concerned about him. And then Marcus Smart gets a great shot, like not great shot up, but I mean because that was a terrible.
It almost went in.
Not terrible.
Though.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
It almost went in. So he put up a great shot for how contested and how actually bad of a shot it was, but obviously he had to because of the shot on the clock.
3 seconds left.
But because he put it up in the ball, because there was only 3 seconds left. Because he put it up. And because of the fact that he actually almost made it, the ball came off the rim softly, which allowed Derek White to make the great play that he made, not sitting in the corner, actually crashing, and then getting the ball up quickly as he did to stun the Heat, stun my heart, and just...
I'm also convinced.
He's been arguably your second best player this entire series. He has made over three threes every game. But you guys go now. I'm done speaking. You guys talk.
Sure. Real quick, I'm gonna say this. I'm low key convinced they drew that play up and were more likely that Smart was gonna miss that. They said Smart shooting crashed the boards because if you look at Tatum too on the other side. He crashed, and I think Tatum would have made a shot, too, if it went the other way, to be honest. But this game, I love this Celtics team, dude, and we're up by 10 for a lot of it. And it's these fourth quarters that we just can't. I was getting furious with this team. Why is Jimmy getting to the line whenever he wants? They played like trash. I was also like this.
He had no reason to be in that game. That should have been a 25-point blowout.
Should have been.
And the thing that was crazy is we were leading by so much, and that was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of, if not the worst three-point shooting nights the Celtics have had all year. They shot like trash from the three-point line. The only person making threes was Smart anyway, so it makes sense they had him shooting it. But the thing that came to me that was huge was Al Horford had a huge block against Bam in that game, which really set up a lot of electric moments there. I loved that moment. That was huge for the Celtics. Now, that three-point foul, I don't know what Al could have done differently. It just made me so mad and defeated when Al fouled on that play. I was like, dude.
He should have let him shoot that
shit. Come on, Al. You didn't have to foul. He should have just let him shoot it. Just let it. If he makes
He was leaning right.
That, dude. If he makes that, props to Jimmy, dude. Props to Jimmy. Miami goes wild. We get 3 seconds left still. We'll figure it out. just don't foul there.
You can't foul there.
Yep. It's so interesting watching the Celtics team go because Derek White is one of the, like you said, second best player. He's just so consistent in terms of things that's going on. I love him in the starting lineup right now. I think that's actually boosted us a lot. And I'm thankful that Smart, somebody that I've had battles with, was shooting well. But when he shot that shot so quick, I was like, why is this happening? Right up.
It almost looked like the play was for Derek White, for like him to pass it in, for them to double, to pass it back to White for the three in the corner. It kind of looked like that might have been what it was drawn up, but obviously it's hard in that moment. You kind of panic. You only have 3 seconds, so he turned and got a good attempt at it.
It
Not a great look, but a good attempt.
In the rim, I'll give him that. It was It looked like
right in and out.
But as soon as Smart got the ball out of, as soon as Smart got the ball on the inbounds, I was worried because I was like, Smart's gonna think this. And then I was like, he literally thinks this is his moment. I thought he was gonna pass it to White out of the inbound. I'm like, do not give Smart another time to shoot a buzzer beater. We already saw this whole thing happen in Philly 2 times. We saw him miss these crucial 3-point shots. Don't let him do it again. And yet he does it again, and I'm like, this is the end. This is the end. And then it's so close that the time right there, and I was just so pumped that he was there, Derek White, in to save the day. But it's still so interesting to me, and I'm so happy that it happened for us, and it was probably demoralizing for that whole entire atmosphere there, for that comeback to happen, for that 1-point lead right at the end, to figure it out right at the end, and then to lose on a bunny that's right off of a miss. That you're this close to winning, and you lost there. But I'll take
0.1
it.
seconds.
But I will say one more thing. I need my Celtics to step up for a whole game. I'm tired of this comeback, and we have to win the hard way. Why can't we just blow the doors off of this team? Why can we not do it? Literally, Bam and Jimmy played horrible for most of this game. We should be able to blow the doors off of this team. I get it. Duncan Robinson, he was hitting shots big, but he also missed some he kept you guys in the game for a while. He hit 2 crucial threes, but then he missed 2. Yes.
The first one he was almost too open because no one came out to contest, and those ones are always the ones that make me a little nervous. That second one was wide open, but he was in complete rhythm, and I was like, that was the one that really got me, because the first one, that weird like wide open shot is one that is like not even 50-50. Sometimes it's like 40-60 leaning that you're gonna miss it more. Yeah, no, he was completely shocked. But that second one he was in such rhythm. Just got it squared up left and then just that one. Oh boy, I know it. I feel like I know what San Antonio felt like when Ray hit the shot in the corner. Like that's what my mindset is right now. Is I'm like, hey, San Antonio, I get same stadium, I got it. I mean, obviously that was to win the NBA Finals, and this is to go to the NBA Finals, so it's a little bit different circumstances, clearly. But
it's off the rebound again, and so tough. But I love this stuff. This Celtics team, they just need to step it up, and if they're gonna move on to the next round, they got to figure out what this team is, who's going to be the consistent player. But loved that game. Lots of emotions. If you look at the who's going to win line, Celtics up, and then right at the end it goes up and down. Crazy. Loved it. Kyle, you can talk about the game.
I mean, a few thoughts. Keenan, you asked us in the group chat yesterday, like, who's going to win? Like, what do we think? How's the game going to go? And I said...
I stayed true to my C's.
Right? And I said, look, if it's an 8 to 10 point game, Boston probably wins. If it's a close game, if it's a one-possession game, I'm taking Miami. And it literally took us to the last 10th of a second for us to get that close victory win. We just don't pull those games out, it seems, against a team like Miami. I mean, even against Philly, we struggled. But, I mean, I once quipped that this Celtics team, even over the course of their, like, the Tatum, Brown, Smart timelines, they're like taking an edible. you just never know where the game's going to go. You never it doesn't matter the score, does not matter who they're playing, what court they're on. You never know where that game is going to go. And last night embodied that. I mean, Tatum was the best player on the floor in the first half. It's a physical, desperate first half. And the Celtics are in control of the game. And at that point, I'm thinking, okay, if this stays this way, they win by 10, 12 points, they're winning Game 7. There would be too much in Miami's head not to, right? And second half, Jason Tatum, true to the edible analogy, Tatum doesn't even score till I think like 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter after 25 in the first half. Jalen had his moments. Smart, who has been one of the most steady players in big games for us this postseason, especially this series and all these elimination games, he's been one of the steady forces, which is crazy to say. Whether that's threes, whether that's being a point guard, he's just been one of him in the post, like that. They've got something there with him in the post. Seems like he's making 85% of his shots in the post. And then Keenan, honestly, what I'm going to remember most about this game, more than how Jimmy and Bam played, more than Tatum's first half, more than any of this, even at the ending, what's going to stick out to me is going to be Duncan Robinson. I just remember being up 10 with 4 minutes to go and being like, all right, they need a shot here or it's over. You know, if we get up 12, it's just going to be kind of demoralizing the run it was on. And every single time you needed it to go to like 7 or to 4 points, Duncan Robinson hit a 3. And Spoelstra on the fly goes for.
He had that. Sorry, he had two backdoor layups with the left hand, like both of them left hand. Sorry, but you go.
I was going to say Spoelstra.
I was just
the greatness of Spoelstra was like he's like, all right, Jimmy doesn't have it tonight, but run some plays for Duncan. He's got it, and if we can at least get close, you know, what happened at the end will happen. You know, maybe Jimmy can pull it out. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But where the fuck was I going with this? Duncan, he was just.
That you remember Duncan Robinson from this game.
Yeah. But, you know, as I'm watching this and every time you guys just, like, would not fucking die, the Heat would not die. I just, like, that's got to be what it was like facing the Brady Patriots when, like, they'd be 8 men down. You know, they'd have a ton of injuries and they're still somehow in the conference championship game. Or they're still competing against the more talented team. Like, this Heat team is so far less talented than us. Lost. I can't even say us anymore. I said take my Celtics card if people are mad about that. But, you know, they're down Oladipo. They're down Hero. They're down all these guys. They're down Gabe Vincent last game. He's banged up, and they still find a way to be in these games. Boston, I think, outplays them most of the game, and it still ends with those Jimmy Butler free throws. And I'm like, wow, we're really going to lose the series on this. And then Derek White just pulls off one of the smartest plays you'll ever see. Just inbounding, going to the rim, following the ball. That's fundamentals, but it's who could blame him if he just watched that shot go up? You know what I mean? And people are blaming Strus for covering Tatum on the inbound and not getting back to box out Derek White. That's an incredibly hard play. And the ball just happened to fall to him. If Smart back rims that shit, the game's over. The series is over. It just happened to go in and out, fall in Derek White's hands, and he got it out literally a tenth of a second earlier than he had to. And that's about as close to moving on to the finals than you can get, is 1/10 of a second from moving on. I weirdly, as demoralizing as that loss is, I weirdly do not think it's, you know, I don't think the Heat are done. I don't. I think the Heat have a great chance. I think
they're not done.
I think Game 7 is going to be a continuum of Game 6, and I think it's going to be just insanity. Much like how that second half was insanity, I think that's going to be the whole entire game on Monday night. It's going to be insane.
I personally, when going through Game 7, so like I was shot in the heart, and I was like this. But Game 7, for multiple reasons, to me is going to be very. I know we're going to give our picks a little bit later, but Game 7 for me is not like just the Heat are dead.
No,
and the three reasons are: one, they're at home. The Celtics are at home, which honestly to me means they're 50-50 because they've been 50-50 for the last 2 years at home for some reason. I don't know why.
So weird.
You really never know. You could get a Tatum 51 or you could get games 1 and 2 against Miami this series. You never know. So them being at home is actually almost not better, but like it's not as like scary as saying go to Oracle back in there, or going to
It is
LA, or
it
going
is
to
when it's a
somewhere
game
like that,
7.
or even Denver.
It is when it's a game 7.
I know they
Or
are.
closeout
I think
game.
they're
There's 5-0
game.
in closeout games this playoffs.
Yeah, I was gonna say and over the last few years, game 7s they are 2-0, and both of them have been in the building and been in Boston. But anyways, so that is like one of my saving. Two is obviously the Heat have a huge amount of pressure of being the first team to ever blow a 3-0 lead, but now the Celtics also have pressure too, because they are. It's now 3-3. It's just one game. They're at home, and they think they're the better team. They're obviously the better team throughout the entirety of the season too. So like they should win this game. Like this is a game that they're going favored. So they also have pressure on themselves as well, which is good for them because their backs are against the wall. But maybe, I don't know. I'm just hopeful that like the Celtics get in their mind now, we got it. Like we're chilling. Like we shot them in the heart. Like that's my mental hope. Is it gonna happen? Probably not. I don't know. But that's the hope of. They're just like, we're chilling now. Yeah. We're good. Like we'll play. We'll go out. Like we're just gonna naturally play our game. We're not going to take the game. The game's going to come to us, and Miami's going to be like, no, we're going to go take this game, and then it's going to hopefully be a dogfight, and Jimmy's going to this has got to be a Jimmy game. I've got to see at least 35 plus from Jimmy. And I need 20 and 10 from Bam. And then one other guy, other of the role players. One of them give me 18, and then just like big plays here and there. Kyle Lowry, give me big minutes because you've been turning the ball over a little more than I like lately. Like just things like that.
You guys are due for a good Lowry game.
That's what I'm looking for.
I think that there's...
Yes, we haven't got one since game 1 in like a quarter of
game
1.
He looked great too. Yeah, for a while he was vintage Lowry for like this short time, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, now he's lost it. And I think to your point, Keenan, the thing with the Celtics is when they get up a certain amount, they have this thing in their head that they're going to play not to lose, and it screws them over.
Yes.
They play slow. They're slowing down the clock, and they're like, oh, we're going to not lose this game, so let's just do this ISO ball. And that's when I get my stupid Jalen shots, which are just terrible shots. And,
same thing as like NFL teams that like get down, like when they're up, like say 13 with early in the fourth, they'll just run on the first 2 downs, and then like you get 3rd and long, and then you'll throw it just to like kind of take time. It's like, guys, no, keep the pace going because it's hard to pick that right back up if the other team does make some plays. So,
and the other thing with the Celtics is, I would say, I don't think I've ever seen a player like this before, but Tatum is one of the few players in which he needs to see shots go in early. If he doesn't see a shot go in early, you're in for a bad, quite long stretch. Sometimes he comes back in the fourth, which is something I love, like Game 6 Tatum. But if he doesn't see that ball fall in, especially the 3 fall in early, it's tough for me to think that the Celtics can pull it out. But Game 7 is going to be electric. It's going to be super exciting. I think the Celtics,
I can't wait.
In a lot of ways, might play worse at home because they're afraid to lose at home with the fans there. Like, it'll be rough to hear if this game is a blowout and the Celtics fans are there. But I'm still the C's all the way. I think that for us to really do this, we need to keep that core, keep White in that lineup, keep playing the defense that we saw all year and what we saw last night in these last few games that I saw win. Keep Grant Williams in this game because even if he was in the doghouse for a while, he's a player that needs to play those minutes. But the thing that's keeping our Celtics players and our team really winning these games is those first 3 quarters is what I'm going to say. 3 quarters of defense that it keeps us in this game, and it shows us why we were so good statistically all year and why we deserve to be where we are today and where we'll be after Memorial Day when the Celtics win. So that's my take from what's going to be happening in the upcoming days.
Okay. And Kyle, how about you?
I mean, so while you were talking, Keenan, I looked up the line for tomorrow, and the Celtics are favored by 7.5 points. And I don't know where the hell that line comes from because...
Love it.
Because, I mean, the Celtics have been anything but consistent.
That's a lot.
And yeah, exactly. I thought it was going to be, less than 4 points for sure.
Love it.
Look, I don't know if you guys saw the press conferences after the game, but I've never seen Spoelstra like so heated. Like he's talking about like, the ball happened to bounce the right way. I'm not mad at this team. I'm not mad at, how we played. We've got to be better in some areas, this or that. He's like, we want to play right now. He's like, we want to run game 7 right now. He's like, my guys are going to be ready to play.
They're ready.
That's about as close to a championship team you can have without being an actual championship team. Like, as I brought up last I talked when I said, they're down 10 and they're still making buckets. They're still playing defense. They're still competing. Again, I'll bring up Philly. That's something you did not see from their leaders. I don't know if it's fair to say that about Doc. I mean, he definitely didn't put him in a full court press like Spoelstra did tonight. But I mean, what could you really do when your top 2 guys don't even try to bring it? But Miami never once quit. Like they just would not die. Every time I thought they would die off, they wouldn't. Not only would they keep competing, but they'd get it
infuriating.
Yeah, they'd bring it back to a 2-possession game. I can't imagine how pissed off they are.
Same thing as last year.
Right. I can't imagine how pissed off they are.
Same thing as, they got to game 7. Sorry, go on.
Right. No,
I can't either.
I was just saying, they're just going to be a pissed off team because, again, I can't emphasize enough, it literally came down to the last .1. It's not like Smart hit that shot, then they had a chance to go back at him. And then that's pretty demoralizing. If Smart hits a fall-away 3, then you're like, what the fuck, right? But to get to .1 and literally if White tries to tip it, doesn't even try to catch it, gather it like he did, they could be in the finals. They could be resting right now, getting ready for Thursday's game. And that's not the case. So I think they're going to come out pissed off. I think Boston's going to come out desperate like they have been. And I think it's going to be a ridiculously physical game. And if Jimmy Butler is the Jimmy Butler we've seen in the first half of the series and the 3 wins, I don't know. That kind of evens it out for Miami. If he's playing at least 90% of that. If he's at least making some shots, his jumper's going, this and that. So I don't even know what the hell to expect. It's you would lean the Celtics, but I just really don't know. And this is a true rivalry now, by the way. These two teams, this iteration of these two teams.
Oh, they've played 3 of the last 4
It's
conference
officially
finals.
a rivalry.
They have to be at this point, and they're 1-1. Like one series went 6, I believe, and then last year went 7 down to the wire, down to a Jimmy Butler 3, and then this year, history is going to be made either way. You're going to have the second 8th seed ever to go to the finals, or in an actual full season, or you're going to have the first ever 3-0 comeback. So there's a lot on the line completely in this game, and I can't wait for it. It's going to be
historic.
It's going to be great.
Historic.
The storylines are you don't have to make the storylines. The storylines make the entire thing. You can just pull them from wherever you want to pull them from. And I need Jimmy to... the thing about Jimmy that was getting me in the game was, even if he goes up and gets his shot blocked a few times, he just needs to attack strong, because when he doesn't, his second jump, it's not like he's not Andrew Wiggins with his second jump. When Andrew Wiggins pump fakes, he can still get up 38. Jimmy can't do that. He needs that head of steam. He needs that momentum to really get up there. Obviously he's a great athlete regardless, but he doesn't have that kind of springy bounce that obviously younger people do, or someone as I said, Wiggins, or Ja, Kuminga, plenty of other people in the league. So that's what's been getting me, is he just needs to go. Because there was a few times where he had Tatum and he just took 2 dribbles, got Tatum on his hip, and just went up. And that's what he needs to do. Even if he misses those, I'd feel more confident than just the hesitate, and then try to go up with it. And then Bam just needs to offensively be there.
Yeah,
just needs to be there. And the shot selection from him wasn't great. He was taking a lot of contested jump shots because he was also being hesitant with his moves. It was he's best when he's decisive. If Bam has the ball in his hands for more than 4 seconds, it's probably not going to go great.
Yeah.
Honestly, when he gets the ball face up, jab, Like as Kyle mentioned, I think last podcast, is like dribble, spin move, dunk that he had, like those kind of moves, or jab step into a jump shot, jab step into two steps, like those kind of things. And I'm hopeful that we get that, especially because, as Kyle said, I believe the Heat are going to be pissed off, especially because Eric Spoelstra's talking like that, and we know what kind of guy Pat Riley is. So if your top two are talking like that already, and Jimmy's now going to be upset because he knows he didn't play up to playoff Jimmy standards, Bam the same way, I hope that just trickles down and we're able to come out with a win. But I said I was confident. I've got Heat by 4. If I had to give a pick, I got Heat by 4, but is it a confident one? It is not. It is not, but go Dallas Stars.
I think what both teams need in the 5 wins combined of this series before Game 6, what you saw was in the 2 Celtics wins, they were making threes. In the 3 Heat wins, they were making threes. Last night, nobody could make threes, and it was a dogfight.
I was just going to say that.
And
the third quarter was huge.
And, I think Game 7 is really going to be more of the same. It's going to be, you talking about hockey, I think it's going to be hockey physicality, and I would not be surprised to see it come down to the very last possession.
The defense is going to be intense.
And by the way, last night, Game 6 was very similar to
That's the hope.
Game 6 was very similar to Game 7 last year, and the fact that the Celtics just went ice cold when you think the game's over, and Miami makes, a 10-11-0 run within the last few minutes there. I don't know. I can't reiterate this enough.
They play not to lose. It pisses me off.
They definitely do. I can't believe it took them this long to figure out the zone, and it seems like you said, it seems like they stopped trying to even figure that out. They had people at high post a lot of the last 3 games, and we're hacking that zone. But, I don't understand it.
The fact that the NBA players don't know how to break a zone is just beyond me. It's not a difficult concept.
It blows my mind.
Jason Tatum, all you have to do every time, especially with the Celtics, Jason Tatum, you're 6'10", you can shoot over anybody, and you can pass. Play the middle. Hey, Rob Williams, run underneath. Derek White, corner. Grant Williams, corner, Marcus Smart, ball.
It's not a difficult
That's
literally what you have a guy
I don't understand how people don't.
That's exactly what Horford's a perfect player for that. Put him right at the foul line.
Yeah, literally
Horford's
absolutely. That big range, for the zone.
Got the oop.
Absolutely.
And they did that. They went to that. But like Cam said, when it comes to the last 4 minutes and they're up, you can bet they're going to walk it up, get it right to 17 seconds, and don't even start initiating their offense till under 10 seconds.
Yep. Yeah. And I just want them to – I don't care. If you're up by 10 and there's 8 minutes left, shoot it with 6 seconds into the shot clock. Keep doing what you were doing before to get that lead, in my opinion.
Don't rush shots, but definitely, like, if you get good – like, if you're open from 3, don't just try to pull it out or whatnot. Go run your offense.
And look for that is what I'm saying. Don't dribble up on the top of the half court for 7 seconds and just wait. Ugh, it's infuriating. And the thing is, I don't know how it takes them so long to like figure out the zone either. I swear they're afraid to like keep repetition of, oh, that worked. Let's do that again. Try it again. Make Miami switch what they're doing. You know what I mean? Figure that out. But they'll get there. I think tomorrow, Celtics shooting 35+% from the 3-point line. They're going to rock it from the 3. That's my hope. I want Al plus 3 threes. I think we'll have 3 to 4 threes. Then we got it in the bag.
That's a good prediction. Al needs a game.
It is.
So, Keenan, you got the Heat by 4.
He does need a game.
Keenan's got the Heat by 4.
Yeah, I got the Heat by 4.
Cam, what do you got? You got Celtics by what?
I'm going to say, yesterday I said Celtics by 7 for this one. I think it's going to be close again. But I think they're going to make a lot of threes. Celtics by 6. Celtics by 6.
I'm going to hedge much like I did in the group chat yesterday. I think the score will be like 96-95 with 30 seconds to go. And your guess is as good as mine.
Okay.
Yep. Under 100. I think it's going to be
how am I supposed to post that for a pick, Kyle? How am I supposed to make a graphic for 96-95?
Use this clip right here. I have no clue what's going to happen. I'm not confident enough in the Celtics. I'm not confident enough in the Heat. I think it's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be a 1-possession game, 1-point game. And look, it's
Keenan graphic, Kamden graphic. Kyle has to have a 7-second
Clip-
video clip.
clip the whole thing.
95, 30
You can
seconds.
clip-
Whatever happens,
you can
happens.
clip all three of us, but
YOLO. We don't
I have
know.
no idea. I have no idea. You could tell me.
If you had to guess which team,
You could tell me Haslam's gonna play tomorrow, and I'd believe it. Like you could tell me Udonis Haslam's getting minutes.
He might.
I
he really.
I think
might.
all stops.
I honestly.
I think all stops are going to be pulled out by both Spoelstra and Mazzulla. Which, by the way, let me give Mazzulla his props. I was talking a whole lot of shit.
You got
He's coached his ass off.
Yep.
His players are playing for him, which is important. And I think he's definitely earned himself, the job next year for sure. Even them getting to a game
You know how you
6.
play your way.
is
AD
great.
played his way out of a trade. He played his way out of getting
He
fired.
really did.
I mean, he coached his way out of getting fired.
He really did. And who knows if Brad would have, but he definitely would have reason to had they gotten swept or even lost in 5. But
yeah,
I love the way the
Would have been a conversation.
Yeah, I love the way the Celtics have fought. I love watching a team that plays that desperate, much more than what we've seen 85% of the season, which is a front-running team that doesn't really have heart. They've showed their heart the last 3 games. Mm-hmm. And we'll see. It's going to be a culmination. I'm rooting for the Celtics. Would love to be at a finals game here within the next couple of weeks. So, man, I don't know. I truly want the Celtics to win, but I'm not confident in either side. I can't confidently say in either side who's going to win.
Yeah.
Like, and had the Celtics just won by 10, or even, I don't know, pull away there in the last minutes by 5 points or something like that, I'd probably come in here and be like, yeah, Celtics all day. But the Heat to lose like that in such a kind of fluky way, somewhat fluky way, not all the way fluky, but just somewhat. I don't know. I think they're going to pull out all the stops. I think they're going to play like fucking hockey players tomorrow, and the refs aren't going to know what to do with it. It's going to be a typical Miami, just like last year. Physical, ugly game, just like Game 6, really. Physical, ugly. Going to be a lot of fouls not called. It's going to be great. It's going to be straight out of 1995, and whoever survives that deserves to be in the finals. But if you're Denver, you're rooting for Miami for sure, because you don't want to face the Celtics team off a 4-game win streak where they really found themselves defensively and offensively.
and I think Jokic would love to play against the zone.
Yeah, for sure.
Jokic
Yeah, exactly.
against the zone
If there's
is
one guy who
unreal.
can solve his zone, it's fucking Jokic. He'd be like, oh, you guys just want me to stand at the foul line? All right.
You would think so, right?
By the way,
You would have thought it would have been LeBron too, but the Mavs threw a zone at LeBron. He had no idea what was the zone. I've never played against the zone. What's going on? How do I do this?
I will say, I think the Celtics. I wonder how many 04 Boston Red Sox players are going to be at the game tomorrow. I'll try to get the whole starting 9 back tomorrow. That's pretty much impossible, but they should at least. I bet David Ortiz will be there. It would be cool if they could get Manny. Johnny Damon was randomly at Game 6. If you're going to be at any game, you'd figure Johnny Damon would be at the Boston games. Shouts to Johnny Damon.
Johnny could possibly be there. I don't think they're going to get Trot Nixon. I don't think they're getting Trot Nixon out there. But Jason Varitek is come or go. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's getting there either. But
that series,
it'll be interesting.
That's what really got. I mean, I watched baseball before that, but that made me fall in love with the Red Sox team. And
Sure.
I remember
I watched a little bit of that series,
I was
very
too young
very
for that one,
minimal
yeah.
around of that series, just because I was only 7.
I think I was 12 years old. I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
I watched those last 4 games where they won. And they faced the Cardinals after in the next round. And even as a 6th grader, I'm like, there's no way the Cardinals can win that game. Coming off that momentum, there's just no way.
Yeah.
And they did. I think they swept the Cardinals. I don't think this Denver team's the Cardinals, but if the Celtics win, they're gonna have all they can do to keep the Celtics
Coming
team
with
off.
this momentum, yeah.
And for the Cardinals, that year, since you're bringing it up, the Cardinals, they sat for so many days that the Red Sox, when they were there, they just rolled through, and they could, especially because baseball. I mean, sports is completely, but baseball especially is a rhythm sport. So like when you have a hot team in baseball, they just roll and they keep on rolling. So the Red Sox came in there super hot, and the Cardinals hadn't played in I think it was like 13 days or something. It was a long time between. And then the same thing with the Nuggets. The Nuggets swept.
That's my next point.
And then they've just been chilling. I was going to say they've just been chilling for a lot of days. And if the Celtics do go win Game 7, they're rolling in there. Even though there's an emotional high that they're coming off of, they're still on an emotional high from being, we just did this. Why is this not our year? And they roll into that. We were in the finals last year. We can be in the finals this year. It's not like we've never seen a first-year head coach go and win a finals, so it's not like it's like a never-been-done thing, too. So they definitely not that they're going to sweep the Nuggets at all because Jokic is way too good. Jamal Murray is way too good for me to believe that, like just to predict it. But they definitely would maybe be favored in the series in my head if that's the case.
I'll say this. That's exactly where I was going with my next point was Denver's been sitting, I believe, since last Monday. If the Celtics win, I mean, you just heard me not give a preview or a prediction for tomorrow. The Celtics win tomorrow, I'm picking them for Game 1 of the finals. Whatever happens, Game 2 and on, whatever. But I can see the Celtics winning Game 1 and just swarming on defense.
Game 1, they're going to go. Tatum's going to be ready,
And I thought, because the Nuggets were the 1 seed in the West, I thought that they had home court regardless. Boston gets games 1 and 2. Celtics will be at home for games 1 and 2. So, they got that going for them as well. I think that's a incredibly intriguing series if it is Boston versus Denver. I think the matchup possibilities there are, almost endless. You could talk me into either team winning that. I think Denver's certainly the better team. But, man, when the Celtics find themselves, which it literally takes them to 3-0 to be like, okay, let's play desperate. Let's play hard on defense. Let's move the ball.
We're going to lose and we're not playing anymore.
Let's play for real.
Let's be pretty cool, guys. It'd be nice to just go out there and perform at the level we're supposed to. Like, let's go do that now.
And
don't let us win
I'll
one.
say this about the Celtics and the Heat, regardless of who comes out of the East, each team's going to have more experience than Denver in the finals, which that does mean something. Denver's not exactly a completely young team.
It does.
They do have KCP. He's probably the only player with finals experience. So it's not like it's a young team, much like the Celtics last year going against the Warriors. But they are going to have the rhythm of the finals down, both the Celtics and the Heat. So I think that is somewhat of an advantage in, some forms.
Yeah. And for the Heat also, we've been doubting them constantly. And everybody's been just pushing them off. Like, they don't got this one. They don't got this series. They don't got this series. They expected to get swept by the Bucks probably, or maybe get one game from all of our saying.
Yeah.
From the analysts, from the media. Same with the Celtics. They expected to get one game, maybe two, sure. I can't, if the Heat win, right, I can't put them out for just not being able to go out there and perform like they have, It's Spoelstra. Spoelstra's figured things out. He's probably got an idea in his head already of how to change his defense and how to best use everybody in the ways they need to. I love the way Spoelstra just knows his players so well and what they need and how they can be successful in all of those different things. So I think that's really, really great. I want to give the Heat their credit too, because they deserve it. They really do.
I have a question. I have one last thing to say.
I'm nervous
about Miami.
Congratulations to the Aces for getting their rings yesterday. Yes. What's up? Sorry.
First, I want to add to what Cam said, and we talked about it earlier, how banged up this Heat squad is. Let's say the Celtics do go on and win, and the Heat squander this opportunity. Yes, it is a choke. Of course, it's a choke because you have 3 opportunities to put someone away. But the Celtics have so much more talent. I don't want it to be – I'll talk again about the Yankees and Sox. Those 2 teams were each loaded. There were so many layers to that series. But those teams, go look at the rosters. It's if not Hall of Famers, but glorified role players too that are superstar role players at their position at that point in time. It's all the undrafted players of the Heat versus the pedigree of the Celtics. So I don't, I cut them some slack, not all, because, you can just win one, but it's been, you might not, but hey, I mean, they shouldn't, like Cam said, they shouldn't have even been in this position. Like
Yeah.
to even get to the conference finals is pretty improbable. Last night was obviously their best chance. They lose by double digits in games 4 and 5. But, again, I think tomorrow will be a dogfight. It'll be a war. And what was your guys' picks? Because I believe I picked. Who did I pick in 7? I think I picked the Celtics in 7. I might have picked against them. I don't even remember. Did I pick the Heat in 7? I think
I had
picked
Heat in 6.
Did you pick the Heat in 6? I might have faulted
I had
at Heat in
6.
7. But I know I picked it in 7. That's what I know. I could see myself picking against the Heat.
I think I said Celtics in 6 or 7, but I know I went Celtics.
We'll have to go back to the tape to see mine.
I had a Heat in 6, and then I said if it went 7, I wouldn't have been shocked. But I definitely so I'm. It can happen though. We'll be all right, Jimmy. We got it. We're good.
I think
It's tough because I love the Celtics so much, but also Jimmy deserves one. That man deserves one. He is out there hustling a lot, and he deserves a ring, but not at the expense of my Celtics. I'll say that. So.
Oh man, I'm just so nervous.
You just gotta sit there and enjoy the greatness, man. Enjoy the greatness.
Also, I've got a not a bold prediction, but a little bold prediction. I got Strus hitting 5 threes tomorrow. I think this is going to be a big Max Strus
Those
game.
are the tough games to beat the Heat in. When Strus goes off.
Yeah, I was going to say, he was, not that this is like the hugest of huge moments, but still, I mean, their season could have ended. Against the Bulls, he did have 31, hit a lot of big threes in that game, and really, it was a really pivotal piece, really the second best player as to why they beat the Bulls and even got into the playoffs to begin with. So, Strus has it in him. Obviously, this is a completely different stage, but I think Strus is going to have a big game tomorrow. I got 5 threes from Strus, and I think everyone else just plays kind of accordingly, and it really is going to come down to Jimmy. I think Jimmy's going for 35 regardless. I'm very confident in that. It comes down to can Bam
that
get
sounds like 2 bold
20 and
predictions
10.
then.
I don't know. Whatever Jimmy's
know if
over
it's-
is, I would bet on it, dude. Jimmy's over is definitely.
If you
Just
count
bet on
Jimmy
it,
going
dude.
for 35 as a bold prediction, then that's 2. If you don't, then that's not.
Bam's
but-
20 and 10 is definitely bold.
Because going into yesterday, because of the fact that the Heat were at home, and I was like, the role players are going to play well. I thought Jimmy was going to play great, and I was like, Bam's going to play well. I thought Jason Tatum was going to have 38 for Boston to beat Miami, and he had 25 in the first half. I was like, well, he's well on his way to 38, and then Tatum did Tatum things as he does, but I do think that Jimmy's getting 35 plus tomorrow. I really do. And this game is going to come down to obviously Bam Adebayo and does Tatum go crazy. But Kamden is right.
Al's 13 to 14 points.
Yeah. Yeah.
You did say 3 threes.
Camden
Is that your bold prediction?
Completely
was the 3
right.
threes?
Yep. 3 threes from Al, I think is definitely. He's going to hit 2 from the corner. He needs to see those fall. That man needs to see those fall. That's mine.
My bold prediction would be that Haslam gets minutes tomorrow. We're going to see Udonis Haslam on the court. I don't care if it's for 1 second.
I don't even
It could be
doubt
for a foul shot. It could literally be. By the way, I think it was Game 3 of this series. It was Game 3 of this series. The Heat are killing the Celtics, and the fans are cheering for Haslam to come in the game. They start a Haslam chant, and Spoelstra didn't even put him in. I'm like, what the hell is that about? Like he wouldn't even get Haslam 30 seconds of run. I don't know what that's about, but
I don't know why.
It was kind of funny to me.
I don't know why, but
And forgive me if
I do agree with.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think that Kamden's correct when he says that if Tatum gets off to a good start, it's gonna be scary. Because I know he can come and go, but that's the thing with Tatum. He has not been completely settling. When things aren't going fully well for him, he's been getting to the basket. He's been trying to get himself going, which I've been noticing more and more. So I'm a little nervous about Tatum getting going early, but I think we'll be okay. It's the last thing I got to say on this game, and everything other than Go Stars. Game 6 tomorrow in Dallas. They're going to try to pull a Game 7 there in Vegas. It's going to be great. Panthers are waiting for them, but Go Stars.
I believe I've made this analogy before, but each game in a playoff series to me is like a chapter of a book. I think you can't people when they talk about a series of the past, they'll like loop it all together like it's like, that's what it was. You know what I mean? Like, oh, James Harden might have averaged this for that series, like a high number, but in reality, did he show up in Game 6 or 7? That kind of thing. You really have to take them as each. Excuse me, I'm getting tongue tied here. Each game is a chapter of a book, and I think yeah, right. I think Game 6 and 7 though. I think they're going to be like a part A, part B. I really do. I think tomorrow's game is only going to be a continuation of last game. It's going to be chaotic. I know I've said this plenty of times, but I can't emphasize it enough. I think it's going to be like one of the craziest games we've ever seen, and it's not going to make any sense at all. Much like Game 6 made no sense.
So if you're thinking best games over the last 10 years, you think it'll be up there with like Golden State Cleveland Game 7?
I mean, that's hard. That's hard.
Level?
That game was incredibly tense.
Or you're thinking Spurs Heat Game 7 maybe?
Those games, what's different about those games is the basketball quality was like at the highest level on both sides. You got quality offense and quality defense. You got a flawed but talented Celtics team versus the typical underdog, like led by a star with a bunch of undrafted players, but both with heavy postseason pedigree. And Keenan, you mentioned Pat Riley. Like, that's why these Heat teams are so physical, is because Spoelstra sees the game just like Pat Riley did, And Spoelstra's very much a give me whoever. I'm going to coach them up to their best potential. You add a Game 7 to that. You add the Celtics' talent to that. But on top of that, the Celtics, again, the edible analogy, you never know what you're actually going to get from them, no matter how talented they are. I just don't know. Yes, to answer your question, though, I think it's going to be an amazing game, much like how Game 6 was. Game 6 was an amazing game, but it was all over the fucking place each quarter. You just didn't know what to expect minute to minute. So I think it's going to be an identical game.
Okay, good analogy for you. This kind of, I think this might remind you of like Patriots Chiefs from 2018. Because that was the Patriots team that you weren't too high on. I mean, it's a little different just because you have Tom and Bill, but I mean that'd be your Spo and Jimmy, but Jimmy's obviously not Tom, but you know what I mean in this scenario. And then you have a super talented team in the Chiefs who haven't been there quite yet. But
it's similar, but not really.
It's not exactly the same. But the only reason why I was saying that was because we're talking about games that were like came down to the wire.
I'll give you this, Keenan.
That might have been the most nervous I've ever been for a Patriots game in my entire life. Though.
I second that. It's up
going
there.
Going
it's
into
up
it.
there.
Going into.
I'll say
it,
this in general. I think it's gonna be more. Like I tweeted last night that the second half was gonna be weird, and that's exactly what it was. Right. That happens in a lot of NBA playoff games, where especially big games like that, where it just gets weird. Yeah. NFL games in general, a big NFL game, those tend to be weird all the way through in some ways. So tomorrow's going to remind me a bit more of a one-off NFL playoff game, whether it's a wild card, divisional, or conference championship game, or Super Bowl. It's going to have that kind of atmosphere. Not comparing the magnitude of it to a Super Bowl, but you know what I mean. Like just in one game.
Not that this.
It can get weird. And Game 6 was fucking weird.
Not that this. Yeah.
Go on, Kamden.
Yeah, not that this game and series was that close at the end, but this matchup that we keep seeing with the Celtics and Heat remind me a lot of the Heat Pacers back in the 2010s. Those get like that. Was it 2013 when they went to Game 7? Mm-hmm. I don't think that game was close. I think that they ended up winning by like.
I think Bosch came back Game 7. I think the year before, I believe Wade ended it out in Indiana with a 40 piece.
Mm-hmm. But it just reminds me of that rivalry, that awesome competition that we keep seeing. So I'm hoping for a game like that. Maybe see some Lance moments in there too.
From Udonis Haslem.
That's everything I got on this game. And for me right now, I got Heat by 4. Heat get to the finals. We'll talk the finals then.
I've got it under 100 points, and whatever happens, happens. Y'all guess is as good as mine.
Not even a real bet.
No. Nope. I just know it's going to be under. Take whatever the under is for total points. That would be my only advice right there.
I'm making a graphic for that, Keenan.
Just this clip. That's all you need is the clip of us saying Celtics by 6, Heat by 4. Yep. Me being like, oh, I have no clue what the fuck's going to happen.
Okay, that sounds good to me. Well, this was the Warner Brothas podcast. Obviously, review of Game 6, predictions for Game 7. Like us on YouTube, comment on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, follow us on Instagram at Warner Brothas Podcast. Thank you, Kamden, as always. Kyle, you did a great job, brother. And you guys have a great night.
See you guys.
Hey, you too.